lọ́jọ́kọ́jọ́ làbẹ̀wò ìkúkú dùkú lóko Podium International wọ́n ti wà tipẹ́tipẹ́ látìgbà tí wọ́n ti ń bàbọ̀ wọn ò fìgbà kan tẹ́rì o wọ́n ti wá ṣe bẹ̀bẹ̀ wọ́n ti gbé bẹ̀bẹ̀ dé Podium Cinema ni wọ́n tún gbé dé Podium Cinema lórí YouTube ẹ fọ́lọ̀ wọn kẹ́ ẹ láìkì wọn kẹ́ ẹ subscribe ibẹ̀ lẹ́tì mọ̀ wọ àwọn àjá àbálẹ̀ fíìmù ẹ̀dọ̀kí fíìmù tó léfò gan tààrà Podium Cinema mo bẹ́rí fún yín fíìmù mẹ́sàn-án ọ̀tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀ ni wọ́n kó jáde o àwọn gbàǹkọ́gbé fíìmù èkíní májẹ̀mú ẹ̀gbọ́n èkejì my wet ẹ̀kẹta ọmọ ẹni ẹ̀kẹrin àlàmú èkó ẹ̀karùn-ún àìmọ̀ ṣe wá rí pé nǹkan kì í ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ràgbó ó kọjá bẹ́ẹ̀ eléyìí lẹ́ti kẹjù èdè Yorùbá ni wọ́n fi ṣe àwọn fíìmù yìí ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kẹfà sẹ́ẹ̀kẹsàn-án èdè òyìnbó ni wọ́n kọ́ ẹ̀kẹfà tẹ́mà èkeje the casting ẹ̀kẹjọ M1 the detective ẹ̀kẹsàn-án 100 M1 the detective at 100 orí síríìsì lẹ́fì máa wò ó ìyẹn dàgbéléwò nìyẹn Podium International Podium Cinema ẹ fọ́lọ̀ wọn kẹ́ ẹ láìkì wọn lórí YouTube wọ́n wà lórí Facebook wọ́n wà lórí Instagram Podium Cinema ó ti dọbẹ̀ ẹ subscribe.
Good evening and welcome to today's program. I'm your regular host on our today's program, Matters Arising. And today I've got quite a lot of guests who will be discussing Igbo Alliance, Yoruba Igbo Alliance for Self-Determination, the upsides and the downsides. Should we or should we not do it? But before I go in, I'm going to bring my co-host, who we've always, you've known him, he's always been here, Baba Alex Oluwole Ajala. Baba Ajala, are you with us? I could see you, but your video is... okay, now we can see you. Baba Ajala, do you want to say hello to our viewers?
Oh, God.
I don't know. Your video is a bit, we can't hear you very well.
Hello?
Aha, now we can hear you. Hello, we can hear you, Baba Ajala.
Okay.
Yeah. So, do you want to say hello to our viewers?
Hello. Thank you for another day of Matters Arising. And I will say thank you for having me again today, the 26th of March. I hope we'll be able to do some justice to the Matters Arising, which the host will announce to the public. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I'm just going to bring Major Temi Agedo. If you can just unmute yourself, sir, and say hello to our viewers back at home. I think we're struggling to hear you, Major. I think you're not connected to audio. I don't know what's... We can see you very clearly, but...
I'm talking. Your audio. Major.
Yeah. Your audio
cannot hear you.
You've muted yourself now, so...
It's muted. I can see that it's muted.
Yeah.
You are muted.
It just needs to... I think maybe your network. Maybe you go out and come back in again.
No. I'm saying that it's muted.
No, he has unmuted now.
It's still muted.
Yeah, on my end, it's saying the mic isn't connected. So it may be with the system. Maybe you can...
It was clear earlier when we connected.
Yeah.
Okay, call Afolabi and see whether...
Yeah, maybe Major would... maybe if you go out and come back again, maybe it will pick up. I think there's a...
Okay, let me call him on my other phone.
Call him.
Yeah. So let's welcome Mr. Ademola Afolabi to today's program. Mr. Bemola, maybe you can say hello to our viewers.
Hello, good evening, and thanks for inviting me to your program, Matters Rising.
Yeah, if you could bring your face a little so that our viewers can see you.
Yeah.
So
hello, good evening.
We are discussing Yoruba Igbo Alliance.
Yes.
And we all stand on the premise that we want to exit Nigeria. The Biafra nation has been on this journey for upwards of 50 years actively. We went to war.
Hello.
When I say war, I say the Yoruba
program,
Nigeria and the Biafra went into war. In 1967, just 1 year after two major coups in Nigeria. Just 1 year after two major coups in Nigeria, there was a major war that lasted 3 years, and the Igbos are having this in their mind that the Yorubas were mastermind of their defeat. So they've never had that forgiveness or closure in their hearts. Not all, but some few. I don't want to say majority of them, but I know some Igbos, because I've experienced personal hurt from some Igbo people against my personal self on the premise of that civil war. The war happened before I was born. But I may not be sure, but I might be right in saying Mr. Afolabi must have been born during the time of civil war, even though you are little and not participated in the war. Mr. Ajala may have been born during that time and maybe little, may not even participate in the war. Major Agedo may not even participate in the...
he did.
He did participate in the war. So it will be an interesting topic, because recently we've seen the Lagos election, the Nigeria Lagos election. When the Nigeria election started, it was like, because for the Yoruba nation struggle, it has been, there will be no election. We are not interested in election. All we wanted is Yoruba nation. And the Biafra nation also said, all we wanted is Biafra nation. And I don't know, because we did a program here and I wrote an article back in February 2022 to say there was a plot by America for Nigeria to have an Igbo president come 2023. And the calculation was that if Nigeria has an Igbo president in 2023, it would, if not slow down, it would totally eradicate the struggle for Nigeria breakup. And lo and behold, an Igbo man did not get a ticket when Tinubu and what was it called? Atiku got the ticket. And all of a sudden, Peter Obi got the ticket, and everybody was singing hallelujah. And I said, don't rejoice, because the Americans know what they are doing. Now, the bottom line is, many things have happened from the election, and there are fallouts, and there are claims and counterclaims, insults, and some people are even saying, why should the Yoruba leadership be having meetings with the Igbo representative? They don't want any sort of alliance. Some people are saying the Igbos will never trust the Yorubas will never trust the Igbos. So I'm going to come to Baba Ajala first to see, to have your take on, what do you think? Alliance or no alliance? Should Yoruba and Igbo nation have an alliance to exit Nigeria?
Good evening. Thanks for having me again today. The issue of alliance or no alliance has a double-edged sword. When we look at it from one end, because I was involved in I will go into a historical perspective. and my direct connection with the leader of the IPOB, Kanu. What happened before he went back home to campaign? We discussed the issue of how to call for the dissolution of that country. We said, you Igbos want a Biafra nation, but you have to define what is Biafra and what land spatial space it occupies. You cannot aggregate a people who don't want to be part of Biafra into your fold. That is very important. In fact, this same thing we told Ojukwu after the Civil War, and we had some connections with him, with direct connection with him, and had a dialogue whereby he now discovered that he should have taken a different step on the Biafran issue, like giving the southeast, the Calabar Goja River region, their own autonomy before he pursued the great agenda of Biafra. The same thing we discussed with this young man when we met just before he went back home to start his campaign, that the campaign is to talk about your strength and your ability and the ability to develop outside Nigeria without the pressure of being part of Nigeria. And then you sign a treaty of cooperation with the other new nations that we made. And that was when I coined the word separation for cooperation and development. So unfortunately, when he went back, that's why I said this thing has two edges. Afolabi will add more to that. I will quickly, when he went back, his campaign was different from what we agreed because we worked together, partially with the Yorubas and the Igbos. We attended several meetings spanning about 3 days continuously. And we discussed what approach we have to sell the movement towards the dissolution of that country, because it's not working for us. We can be friends, but as a nation, which it is not in the first place, it cannot survive. We're just messing up. We are deceiving ourselves. So, as you can see, I have not made up whether it is all right or not all right. There's a lot of negative positioning by the Igbos, which is not very palatable to the Yorubas because of mutual suspicion. I will end so far.
Thank you very much.
I want Afolabi to take us.
Yeah, there's something I wanted to clarify, because you said you had direct interaction with Ojukwu himself.
Yeah.
And you had, was it a direct
after
interaction?
The Civil War?
Yeah, was it a direct interaction you had with Nnamdi Kanu as well, or it was just?
That's correct. That's correct. Here in London, in Dagenham, one of the offices of one of the Igbo accountants, and one of the other ones, late Dr. Ozualo, was part of it, because myself and Afolabi had known Ozualo for quite many years, and his agitation that you see, like you said, when you have contacts with these people, when you look at their presentation, their take on the issue at stake, which is Nigeria supposed to continue to exist or not? This is not about secession. I've always insisted. We have tried to hold on to Nigeria. It's not working. We cannot continue to be in a very bad situation as it is.
Yeah,
until we agree.
I'll just invite Mr. Folabi. Mr. Folabi, what's your take? Should we or should we not? Should we just allow the Igbos go and we pursue our self-determination and no interaction, and when we are ready, we take our Yoruba nation out of Nigeria? Or should we have an alliance with the Igbos?
Well, good evening again. My position for the last 30 odd years since the annulment of the June 12, 1993 elections won by the late Bashorun MKO Abiola has been that there should be an alliance, of the Southern Protectorate in order to put pressure on the wider Nigeria for either a change or a separation. And the reason why I chose the strategy is quite simple. The two Nigerias, that is the Northern Protectorate and the Southern Protectorate, which existed between 1900 and 1912, 31st of December 1912, were recognized as two separate countries. So in order to reverse out of Nigeria, it's far easier to reverse through that recognition, even if we intended that, okay, the Yorubas will go on their own way, the Igbos, and then, of course, the Delta, because I don't believe that the Delta are part of the Biafra, and this was what caused the late Colonel Emeka Ojukwu, as he was then known, to lose the war. And when I had the opportunity to communicate with and correspond with Colonel Ojukwu several years back, I told him this quite clearly after reading an article of his, which he published in the Daily Telegraph in London. I told him that the reason why you claim to have experienced a glass ceiling is because of the way you handle the issues of the minorities in the eastern region, which wanted to become Biafra, which then subsequently caused Biafra to fail.
Yeah,
Now,
I think I read the story of Okotiebo, how the Igbos were trying in all positions, they were trying to lord it over the Calabas.
yes, the Igbos were
No,
creating.
Okotebo is not related to Calabar. It's Ishakiri.
I know
Calabar is on the far end
the
towards
Igbos
Cameroon.
the Igbos were basically trying to create a mini Nigeria by dominating the smaller groups in the Calabar Ogoja Rivers region, even up to Benin.
Up to the
When they now
Cameroons.
try to crack into
I'll bring in Major. Major, you were part of.
let me move into the area that I want to now explain, which relates to Nnamdi Kanu. I read an article was it yesterday or the day? I think it was yesterday, where his brother was alleging that the British government were not taking a position on the rendition of Nnamdi Kanu, that is the way he was abducted from Kenya back to Lagos, at that time. And he felt that the British government ought to take a position. But the conduct of Nnamdi Kanu has made it difficult. I'm not holding brief for the British government, but his conduct has made it difficult for the British government to come out and take a position against the Nigerian government. I had broadcasts of Nnamdi Kanu when I was in London in 2020, where he was calling for his Igbo compatriots who were looking for members of IPOB to sack military installations, sack some property in the Festac area of Lagos where he believed that munitions were kept and things like that. And the calling for the bombing and blowing up of government property and public property and so on and so forth. So he made it difficult for the British government to come to his defense or to try to protect him because he was carrying a British passport. Because basically, there is a way, if you want to attain independence, there is a way to do it under international law, which is calling for a referendum and so on and so forth, which we have been doing. You cannot simply try, now start to attempt to move in the direction of anarchy and expect the British government, I'm not holding brief for them, to support you, because the next thing that will come from the Nigerian government is, oh, the British is supporting insurrection in Nigeria. It is totally wrong.
I'll let you hold your thoughts. Let me call Major Agedo. You were involved in the Civil War in 1967. And the Igbos never forgave the Yoruba because of that Civil War. They still hold that against Yoruba. Although a lot of them are now having a cool mind and saying, okay, well, that's the war is past. There was no victor, there's no vanquish. We're still fighting for self-determination. We still want out of Nigeria, even though they didn't get it in 1967, they didn't get after the war in 1970. The Yoruba started their campaign, and right immediately we started our campaign, we said we didn't want to go the Igbo way. We want to do our campaign peacefully and in a civilized manner. And the Igbo have said it that I would say they are using the method of by any means necessary. Whether it's peaceful, whether it's lawful, by violence, they must get Biafra. Now, we're not looking at the alliance between Yoruba and Igbo. Should there be an alliance or not? And if there should be an alliance, what should the alliance entail? Over to you, sir.
Okay. Let me talk to my two brothers that we have been in the trenches for over 30 years. First, Mr. Afolabi, you agreed we should go into partnership. But again, you are digging out the dirtiness of the Igbos. So let me stop you there. Don't come in. Don't come in. As for you, Baba Jala, you want to eat your cake and still have it. That is not the way to go about it. You, me, Afolabi, Kayode, and others, we have been calling for the dissolution of the first amalgam. The amalgamation of merging the North with the South. Yet, you want to be individualistic about it. How is that going to work? Igbos are calling to get out. We Yorubas are calling to get out. We are the two major stakeholders, players in the South. If we do not agree, the international body, the international community will look at us as a laughing stock. They even look at the two people, the twin brothers that want to go away, that say we should separate the North from the South. Look at them, not agreeing with each other. We, this West, cannot go it alone. Neither can the East go it alone. But if we go together, the international community will see to our plight. The Igbos have they have those who have sympathy for them in the international community. We have ours too. If we join forces together,
then it becomes a multitude.
It becomes a multitude. So that does not mean we are going to be part of the Biafra or they are going to be part of us. We are saying we Southerners are being oppressed by only one body, the Fulanis, the North, and we want to break away. We don't want to be under their feudal system. We want to be on our own. So we are calling for dissolution. Yoruba agitation, Yoruba nation thing is dissolution. The Biafra thing is dissolution. So why are we saying we are not going to go together with them? If we don't do it, can I finish, sir?
Okay, go on with your thoughts.
Go on.
Baba Jala, I'm a Jesheo.
No, I agree with you. I agree with your analysis.
Baba Jala, let's hold on. Major, finish your thoughts and then.
So we have to, even though, like my Aburo have just said it, that we are not going to be anarchists like they are. No, we are not going to go their own way of confrontation. Only Yorubani ti abati di ekuidamu a kì í béèrè ikú tó pa bàbá ẹni. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni. So Nnamdi Kanu is an idiot, just like Ojukwu. Ojukwu did it and failed. We warned him that time. He was my friend. When he became overambitious, Professor Wole Soyinka went to David Ejo, Midwest region, only allow Biafra a free passage. We got a free passage, or they got a free passage all the way to the boundary of Western region, or Re. They had free passage through the Midwest region. Ojukwu now became too ambitious. Only Banjo, you are my 2IC, second in command. Proceed to Lagos. Banjo said to him on the radio, "It is suicidal. Don't let us do it that way. Ejeka duro, and to arrange our peace access through Midwest region. They shoot a single bullet to attack wa, to intimidate wa. Ejeka duro, oti lo si Abekuta, on loba baba weri oloshi olori buruko Obasanjo ọmọ Igbo yẹn. Oti loba.
Ejeka throw insults.
All right, sorry. Mo withdraw insult here because public domain lawa. Mo withdraw it. Sorry,
Okay.
I just got carried away. I just got carried away. I'm sorry.
That's
So,
okay.
Oloba Baba Obasanjo pé kó fún wọn ní free passage again lọ sí Èkó, because Èkó was still a colony. Èkó was not
Part of Southwest. That's what a lot of people do not understand.
It was not part of Western region. Èkó was a colony, a British created colony to rule Nigeria after merging. Even though one fi power was see Zungeru and Sokoto and Kaduna. So as Professor Wole Soyinka had gone to call, to beg for free access.
Now, before I call Baba Ajala, I'm just going to ask, why do they need access to Lagos? If they have their own Biafra, they've declared their Biafra, they have their Biafran dollar, and they have their Biafran flag, their Biafran state.
I will pass that message back to Major Adedo.
Let's just wait.
Let Adedo finish.
They need access. It's like you have an aircraft, you are flying on top. You have your private jet. You want to go from London to Italy. You need clearance from the countries you are flying over them.
To allow you. Was it air access they were looking for, or land access, or sea access?
Land access.
Okay.
From Ore through Shagamu Ore express road to Lagos Ibadan express road to get to Lagos.
Yeah, what I want to understand is the access they need. Is it for logistics, for food, for goods and services?
Everything to move the military, logistic, food, military armament, everything for supplies.
Okay, that's all. It's just so that our viewers would understand you, because when you say they need access to Lagos, somebody would say they already have their country. Why do they need access? But it's now clear to our viewers. I'll bring Baba Ajala in. Baba Ajala believes that Yoruba is a big nation. The Yoruba nation on its own is 2 times the size of the Biafra nation. It's you could say the Yoruba is the size of Biafra and the other southern nations put together. And he believes we are mighty enough to go on our own. Now, Baba Ajala, Major has just said something important, that we need to go in an alliance, some sort of an alliance. We don't need to work together. We don't need to share notes, but we just need a form of agreement and understanding. Now, in your own take.
No, if I may stop you there, there's something. It's my fault. I would have invited Ango Briggs into this program tonight. She's in London. Maybe
Lulu,
if she's still in
Thank you,
law
please.
till next
thank
week,
you.
we will call her to
Okay.
join us. Because when we talk about Biafra, it is the Igbo enclave within the old Western region. I'm sorry, the old Eastern region. That's what even Ojukwu did not understand, which Agedo and Afolabi had pointed out. But Afolabi had also defined that kind of alliance should have included the South-South, meaning the whole of the old Southern protectorate of Nigeria, not just the Igbo Biafran thing. That I will support. But excluding the South-South from the call for dissolution, I don't support that. It is a collective realization that there were two countries up to 13th of December
1913.
31st,
December
1912,
31st, 1913. There
1912.
were two countries. The northern country, which is called the Northern Protectorate, and the southern country, which is called the Southern Protectorate of Nigeria. So that is the beginning of the problem we face today, apart from the 1999 election, which has added a new dimension to the whole problem that the country is facing, a country that can't define itself. So this now comes to the point that I'm bringing the position of Major Agedo and Afolabi together to redefine that the cooperation should be Southern Protectorate of Nigeria and the Northern Protectorate.
Now,
That is that complete alliance. And
Yeah.
it's not
if
just
I-
the Biafra, because Biafra is in the Southern Protectorate.
if I
Now-
can add to it,
Yeah.
the South that you mentioned,
Mm.
they have decided to be parasitic. You remember what they did to us during the Nadeko days?
I know.
Every time we go to protest, they will tell us, I'm talking about the Ogoni boys under Kensaro
Okay, yeah.
They will tell us
Yeah.
they are
And
not politicians.
Leduminte.
At the same time, they are frolicking with Abacha through Kensaro. So this time we are not going to carry anybody along with us. If they want to join us, they are free.
I will say now that from my contacts with those in the South, they
Yes.
also want to be, and their leader is that lady I just mentioned.
No. Ankyo is not their leader. She's just one of the spokesperson. I have spoken with Ankyo twice, and after that, she does not pick my call. She does not even return my messages anymore. That is their attitude. That is their attitude. They are afraid that they don't want to be swallowed by Biafra. At the same time, they
don't want to be swallowed by Yoruba.
They are skeptical of joining the Yoruba. So
I would bring Mr. Afolabi on. Mr. Afolabi wants an alliance with the Igbos, but he wants the alliance
not Igbos, Southern Protectorate
to be defined. Yeah, he wants the alliance to be defined in the sense that the minorities, because the questions have always been, the question about Nigeria has always been the minorities. How will the minority rights be protected? I remember that same question was posed to Chief Obafemi Awolowo. How would the minority rights be protected? In the Yoruba space, we don't have that problem in the sense that we are a homogeneous people, even though we have our own different types of Yoruba, but we are a homogeneous people, which the South and the Biafra do not have. Now, a lot of people in the southern Delta region, it's difficult to call them Delta because the whole place is Delta, but you have the Port Harcourt, the Ogoja, the Calabar, the Akwa Ibom. They would say they are the original Biafra, and the Igbo people hijacked their name, which is now made it very difficult for them themselves to even understand the dichotomy between who is Biafra and who is not Biafra. And they would say they don't want to go with the Igbo people. They want to form their own nation. Now, Mr. Afolabi, will it now be that the Yoruba should look to have a dual alliance with the South, let me just say South for now, and the Igbo people on a different mode, rather than just say we have an alliance with the Igbo people and the minorities of the southern region would be dragged along? What's your take on that?
Well, that may work in the sense that if you look at the map of Nigeria, there is nowhere where the minorities actually touch with the geography of the far north, where the problem has originated from. So in that respect, it may work to a certain extent. But why I say we still need the cooperation of the people of the South, that is the minorities. There are Ijos, there are Ogonis, and all the rest of them. We had a lot of difficulty with the Ogonis, which Major Agado has mentioned during the time of the Nadeko days. I personally was involved in several meetings with Ledumete and a couple of other guys whose names I can't remember right now, and and they are.
Who was their leader? Graham Douglas and others.
And their position, whilst they made it clear that they didn't want to have anything to do with the Igbos because they felt threatened by the Igbos because of the history they had, how the Ojukwu-led Biafra military overran their areas, and their areas had to be rescued by General Alani Akinade, who was the head of the 14th Brigade, 3rd Marine Commando, whom we also made contact with to try to, speak to them, since they were, sort of close. But we found
Adekunle, not Akinade.
No. 14th Brigade was Akinade. The whole of 3rd Marine Commando was Adekunle. Alabi Sama was Adekunle's chief of staff. I stand to be corrected by Major Agedo because
you are right.
Go on.
Yes. Alabi Sama I knew personally, and before he wrote his book about the tragedy of victory on the Atlantic Theater, he had discussed widely with me all the issues in that book as far back as 1987. So in essence, what I'm saying is that alliances need to be formed across the South, involving all the groups in the South so that nobody feels left behind. But I can speak for the Yorubas that we have never been territorial. We have never gone into somebody else's territory to claim land, to say no man's land, or to say anything. Yoruba land is big enough
for the Yoruba people to
and even
the Yoruba land is bigger than England and Wales put together.
Oh, and yes. In fact,
the land is big enough.
Yes, if the truth be told, even Onitsha, history tells us that Onitsha was founded by Benin princes.
Oh, that story for another day, because
we have not even gone there to try to lay any claims. Yeah. I remember quite clearly during the Depo days. The Shekiri came to us. The Shekiri came to us.
Their profile. So the Igbo nation has always been under the
the Shekiri people. They came to us. One of them came to me and said, "Look, the way things are going, if Nigeria scatters, they are part of the Yorubas."
That is undisputable.
In fact, it was on that day that he made it known to me that Chief Alfred Rewani was actually Chief Alfred Ogbeiwa Irewani.
That's an Ishekiri.
Oh, yes. He defined the meaning of the name to me on that day, just to make to let me know that they have Yoruba origin.
Because Elijah shares boundary with Ishekiri. Now, we're seeing a sort of to say, let's not even focus on Igbo Alliance, because we still have the other southern minorities who needs to get the assurance of their own protection, either of their own state, outside of the territorial integrity of the Biafran framework.
Yes, and let me tell you, sir, Mr. Broadcaster, sir, that is not a very difficult thing because it has been done elsewhere in the world. If you look at Europe, if you look at Europe, there is a country called Luxembourg, which is one of the richest countries in Europe. They are only 300,000. Yeah. And there is sovereign states. And there's an even smaller one. Enclave. Yes, there is an even smaller one, Iceland, where every citizen, all the citizens of Iceland are actually cousins by blood. And they are about 125 or 200,000 or 250,000. Yeah. So we can model the regions where there are smaller nationalities in the Niger Delta and elsewhere on this, same premise. Nobody has to fear that, the Yorubas are going to march in and take us over. No. Yorubas are not interested in taking anybody over.
There's another alliance.
Can I come in, please?
Yeah, Major, you will come in, but there's something I want you to look at, which a lot of us in the South have overlooked. Because we sort of look at the North and think they are monolithic.
No, we know they are not monolithic.
Yeah, we know. But, because we've heard of PANDEF, we've heard of SMBLF, handshake across the Niger. There's this tribe which a lot of people neglect. They are more than the Igbo nation in Nigeria. They are the Gbagi people, and the Gbagi comprise of 6 states in the North Central. They own the entirety of Abuja. They are in Nasarawa State. I start to be corrected. They are in Niger State. They are in Southern Kaduna. They are in parts of Benue. They are in Plateau, and they are in Taraba. So they are a massive tribe who have been suppressed.
Massive nationality.
Massive nationality. Thank you, Babajala. Their land mass is twice the size of the Igbo nation. But they themselves, they've been mixed by so many other smaller tribes. The Gbagi language spread across that 6 states. In fact, some people in the Kanuri, in the Borno, they speak Gbagi. They are from the Gbagi tribe. Now, the Southern Alliance have tried to form an alliance with the North Central, who also have said they want out of the Northern Arewa framework. The relationship has been frosty. It's not been straightforward because some elements that are mixed, that are not real Gbagi, they have made it difficult for the North Central to be cohesive. What sort of arrangement do you perceive can be formed, or an opportunity that can be harvested in that avenue with the North Central, the Gbagi nation? Major, over to you, sir.
We don't need them, because at the end of the day, because the British, the colonialists, have grouped them as Northern region. When it comes to politics or any other thing, they are always standing together. So we don't even have to think about them, because they are based and classified in the North. Let us talk about we in the South. The Niger Delta people are still not serious. We just mentioned Ankyo Briggs. What about Dr. Don Pedro Obaseki? That man that jumps from all over the world and keeps saying they cannot be subservient to Western, to the Yorubas, and they cannot be subservient to the Igbos. Have they formed an alliance? Have they got a good hold of themselves in that Niger Delta that we call South-South? They should sit down and make their house. We have been able to hold on to a few of our people in Yoruba land. So we are shouting Yoruba. Just like some majority in the East are saying we are Biafrans, like we are Yorubas. It's just that amongst them, the people spearheading their movements now for Biafra are confrontational. They like war. They like killing themselves. We have not killed any. We have not killed any politician because they don't believe or they don't want to support our Yoruba cause, or because they still want to be slaves to the feudal Fulanese. We haven't killed any one of them. We have been coercing them. We have been trying to make them see reason with us to come to Yoruba. Unlike the what Nnamdi Kanu especially is doing in the East, killing his own people. The Fulanis are killing you, and you are killing yourselves too. We are not doing that. But let me come to the first question, why I am on this platform now. We must, or we should, go together with them because they are calling for dissolution of the false amalgam. Same thing we are calling for. Let us go that way. For the South, our South people, let them form a strong bond like we are doing. They cannot continue to be in limbo and expect us to carry them along with
put their
us.
house in order. They have to put their house in order.
We cannot carry them.
The head of their house.
We cannot carry them along with us. Pandev or no Pandev. South-South or no South-South. If they are remaining in limbo, we don't even have to worry about them. Let us concentrate on those who are out to get out, like us. And
if I may add.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, come in, Mr. Falabi.
If I may add, the people in Benin, Edo, Benin in particular, there is a small group who believe that Benin does not have any linkage to the Yorubas. I have met one or two like that.
Let me cut you short, sir.
We will not try to educate them here. We will just say
let me cut you short, sir. Let me cut you short, sir.
Like Don Pedro Obaseki.
I said, let me cut you short, sir.
I am going to stand.
The Oba has said it not once, not twice, that the origin of Benin is Yoruba. Oduduwa.
I was going there. You took the words out of my mouth. In fact, it was the grandfather of the current Oba. The grandfather of the current Oba, Oba Kenzwa, who died in 1978, who said, and I quote, that the origin of Benin is from Oduduwa. And he said this to the Ooni of Ife, Oba Okunade Sijuade, during the opening of the Leventis Group motor division in Benin City. On that day when they came to launch the Leventis Group, Oba Sijuade was not yet on the throne when he told them that, look, this kingdom, Benin Kingdom, traces his history back to Oduduwa. It is his grandson who is now the Oba of Benin, and that's why they bear the name Oba.
Now, I will come to something because for me, personally, I look at history and I look at trends that have happened in the past to guide us into the future. And if we bring the case of, start from 1956, but even if we don't even go into 1956, we saw the case of Yugoslavia, the former Yugoslavia. There were 6 regions like Nigeria, and one of them could not go it alone, Slovenia and Croatia. They formed an alliance, and eventually Yugoslavia tried to hold them down even when they said no more, but it did not stand. And that was because there was a sort of an alliance between Slovenia and Croatia. The ethnic Serbians who were trying to suppress them, they were scared because they believed that if the Slovenians were to declare their independence, the Slovenians were more like the liberal people who accommodated a lot of...
Just knowing, sir.
Yeah. So for me, I think, yes, we need an alliance, but that alliance should be defined. We don't need to draft a formal agreement to say this is how we want to fight together, or this is how the modus operandi could be. For me, I believe we should just say, continue to fight. We will continue to fight. It may be one or two areas that we agree, and this is what we can do. Rather than, I'll take the issue of the former UK Prime Minister, Theresa May. When she couldn't form a government, she met a junior partner, the Unionist in Northern Ireland. And they said, we are not going to be a part of your government, but we would have an arrangement where supply and confidence. We will support anything you want to do, provided it aligns with what we believe in. So it may be on a surface level and not a saying we will die for you or come die for us. It may even be that if we say today we are no more Nigeria, we want to be Yoruba nation, and the Biafra nation wants to be Biafra, and the Nigerian government wants to attack each other, then we may say, okay, we may stand, we will not stand to attack either of the two. I know that's not going to happen, but it may be an assurance that the Biafrans may need, because they may be scared to say, oh, a war has happened in 1967. How can we trust the Yoruba people not to attack us again when they want to go? Yeah, I mean, it's legitimate fears. So for me,
if I may, host, if I may stop you a little bit, because you are carrying on suppositions. Let us look at we've almost exhausted most of the supposition, but the actual situation that I see is that we are not, first of all, not fighting. We are making a call, like Major said, for the dissolution of the amalgam. And that's what I want us to insist all the time. We are not fighting anybody. Literally, if we use the word, hold on, if we use the word fighting,
wake up, Joe.
If we use the word fighting, it's for those listening to us who say, what instrument? How are we fighting? Yeah. So because the way I see what we are doing is calling for the realization of the fact that there were two countries. These two countries can't work. Let us dissolve it. And those elements in those two countries, the communities, the ethnic nationals, will now decide which direction they want to go. If they want to be independent, we are not going to, particularly the Yorubas are not going to impose themselves to anybody who says they want to stand alone. After all, if you look at the Europe, there's a little country called Liechtenstein. Their population is not more than 40,000. It's one of the centers of industry and commerce and technology, high tech, and commerce, and it controls a lot of other industries worldwide. They are not more than 40,000. So we can have such in the land space currently defined as Nigeria, which I believe should not have. Hold on. Yeah, hold on. Even within the Yoruba nationality, if any of the subsections wants to be independent, let it be so. The important thing is that we no longer want the continuous existence of the amalgamated country called Nigeria, which was made up as a trading post in the first place. Our forefathers never had a hand in creating it. So we are calling for the dissolution of the amalgam, and starting with realization of a two country this thing, arrangement, the north and southern country. And within, even in the north, like you are talking about the Gbagi and so on, they will also decide their direction, because we Folabi, you remember the conference we had near Langa Lane many years back with
Yes.
Wale Soyinka and the Middle Belt people. The Middle Belt
Yes.
people said if the South goes, they are also going to extricate themselves and form their own country. So don't let us have any fear. The important thing is our call. If we make the call and we educate our people, particularly at home, on the reason behind the call that we need to dissolve, because we don't belong to each other, we are just deceiving ourselves. And so that will automatically create a sort of understanding between all the peoples, whether they are Igbos or Biafrans and so on. So that, like Major Agedo said, we collectively call for going, and the assurance of the fact that we are not land grabbers. We are not bringing the word of, we know, like Folabi said, we are not going to say we want to claim Onitsha, because when I looked at Kanu, he drew a map of the so-called Biafra and put almost everybody into it, except
Even
he almost hold on, he almost even put Owo Akure into his own concept of a Biafra, using an ancient an ancient map that was conjectured by ancient geographers about the extent of the Biafran people, which unfortunately, by the time the revision of all this came, we now know the extent. After all, Ethiopia was supposed, some of ancient maps, Ethiopia was supposed to almost extend to where Senegal is. You see?
Yeah.
So, you see, the mapping, geospatial mapping, is also important in this case.
I
We
have
to
always
be
said,
just,
Mr. Fulani, I have always said that Biafra, the proper definition of Biafra should be Ndi Igbo Biafra.
And the Niger Delta Biafra. Maybe if the Niger Delta
No. You are mixing
Mr.
it
Folabi,
up.
remember
You are mixing it up. The Niger Delta don't want to be part of the Biafra.
Yes.
Because the Niger Delta have many nationalities. Ndi Igbo Biafra.
Okay.
Which is the core Igbo states.
Yeah.
The others should be allowed to define.
The 5 Igbo states.
5 Igbo states.
Yes, the 5 Igbo states, the core Igbos, not the cross river, Akwa Ibom, rivers, and all of them should be allowed to define what they want to do with themselves.
Whether they want to be one country, whether they want to be 2 or 3 or 4.
Yes.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we will have chaos.
I can imagine. We've exhausted most of our time. Mr. Alex Ajala, he said he would help us invite somebody, and we could continue the discussion, because I know this topic will not go away. Yoruba Igbo Alliance. One thing we've understood is that there is some sort of an alliance needed, in as much as the goal post is the same. The methods would then maybe be refined, fine-tuned, and defined with time. But the Yorubas are standing on their own leg, and the Igbos are standing on their own leg. The methods are different. The methods are different, and they are never going to cross or meet. I'll just let everybody give their last words, and we can go. Maybe we start from Major Agedo.
That's correct.
Yeah, like I said initially, we should go in alliance. And like Baba Ajala and Ademola, Mr. Afolabi have said, we will define how we do it. But our target, our goals are the same. Dissolution of the forced amalgam so that we can be free to do our own things our own way.
Thank you very much.
Why we can never ever.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Let's bring in Baba Jala, your final words before we go.
Well, my major has said everything. You see, with this situation, we need to have a proper, clear geospatial description of the land space that occupy the Southern Protectorate, which we are calling for cooperation to dissolve the amalgam. We are not fighting. Let us drop the word fight. We are calling for the dissolution. If we keep on saying fighting or agitating, it demeans the whole thing. It makes us look as if we are slaves within the construct. It looks like we have accepted the slave mentality.
Second-class citizen.
Yeah, we are not. We should, you see, language, like myself and Afolabi says, language constructs will kill or make an idea to work. And our concept of the current call, I use the word call, is for the dissolution of the amalgam that brought disparate, incongruous people together into one rigid political structure called Nigeria. Of course, most of the fault lies with the Yorubas, who started ringing the bell of nationalism right from the time Lugard put down his this thing. He surveyed sticks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Baba Jala. I'll just welcome Mr. Folabi to give us his last thoughts before we go today.
Well, as I've said and maintained over the years, the strategy which I mentioned earlier was that since there was a Southern Protectorate, which was a separate country from the Northern Protectorate, which was a country that existed for 12 years, the solution to the problem we now have is going back through that same route to gain our separate sovereignties.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, thank you very much, our viewers. That's where we would wrap it up for today. We will still bring you this topic at some point. It may be good to even bring the Igbo people themselves to come and come and discuss what they think, and even the Niger Delta minority people to see what they themselves are thinking. Are they thinking alike? Do they think they want to go it alone? Do they think, no, you go and do your thing, we will do our thing. We are gaining ground, we are gaining momentum, and we would eventually exit. We know Nigeria is going to fall. It's not a question of if, it's just a question of when. Until we come your way again, I would say thank you very much for joining us. I'm just going to hand over to our host in the house. Thank you, and see you again next week. God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Presenter. Moderator.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
lọ́jọ́kọ́jọ́ làbẹ́wé kúkú dùkú lóko Podium International wọ́n ti wà tipẹ́tipẹ́ látìgbà tí wọ́n ti ń bàbọ̀ wọn ò fìgbà kan tẹ́rì o wọ́n ti wá ṣe bẹ̀bẹ̀ wọ́n ti gbé bẹ̀bẹ̀ dé Podium Cinema ni wọ́n tún gbé dé Podium Cinema lórí YouTube ẹ fọ́lọ̀ wọn kẹ́ ẹ láìkì wọn kẹ́ ẹ subscribe ibẹ̀ lẹ́tì mọ̀ wọ àwọn àjẹ́ àbálẹ̀ fíìmù ẹ̀dọ̀kí fíìmù tó léfò gan tààrà Podium Cinema mo bẹ́rí fún yín fíìmù 9 ọ̀tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀ ni wọ́n kó jáde àwọn gbàǹkọ́gbé fíìmù èkíní májẹ̀mú ẹ̀gbọ́n ẹ̀kejì my wet ẹ̀kẹta ọmọ ẹni ẹ̀kẹrin àlàmú èkó ẹ̀karùn-ún àìmọ̀ ṣe wá rí pé nǹkan kì í ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ràgó ó kọjá bẹ́ẹ̀ eléyìí lẹ́tìkẹjù èdè yorùbá ni wọ́n fi ṣe àwọn fíìmù yìí ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kẹfà sẹ́ẹ̀kẹsàn-án èdè òyìnbó ni wọ́n kọ́ ẹ̀kẹfà tẹ́mà èkeje the casting ẹ̀kẹjọ m1 the detective ẹ̀kẹsàn 100 m1 the detective at 100 orí síríìsì lẹ́fì máa wò ó ìyẹn dàgbéléwò nìyẹn podium international podium cinema ẹ fọ́lọ̀ wọn kẹ́ ẹ láìkí wọn lórí youtube wọ́n wà lórí facebook wọ́n wà lórí instagram podium cinema ó ti dọbẹ̀ ẹ subscribe.